Hello and welcome back to Azure Terraformer. It's release day. Well, it's release day plus one. With St. Patrick's Day and all of the family activities that I had going on, it is Sunday, I guess plus two. So pardon me for that. But we're going to check out 3.48 of the Terraform provider here and see what new goodies we have this week. So in 3.48, new data source Azure Mobile. So there's this new service that we've been seeing new resources come in that are related to Azure Mobile. I haven't really checked this service out yet. I think it's a Twilio, like a Twilio competitor. I don't know, but it almost looks like it's like a telephony vertical type. It's got network SIM policy, so it's almost like there's you know how we have the healthcare service. This might be like a telephony based service to target a particular vertical within communication space. I don't know. What do you know about this service? I'd love to hear about it. I guess I could go to Channel 9 and see what's going on. I'm gonna have to do that. I've just been so busy with work and with responding to your wonderful questions and comments. So have not had a chance to go look at the mobile service yet. But network SIM policy, the plot thickens. I can't imagine anybody needing to set up a network SIM policy unless you were doing something related to setting up a mobile network, which sounds very ambitious. Other new resources, we have express route port authorization. So me being an application guy, I've never really spent too much time setting up the network services, and I've never set up an express route in my career. I fundamentally know how express routes work and things like that and when you need them, but I've never set one up. They're one of those things that are it's a massive infrastructure project, and it's not like you do it over and over again. So that would be it's definitely a niche area. Azure Site Recovery, so VMware. I've always wanted to get my hands on like a VMware cluster, such that I could play around with the vSphere provider and mash it up against Azure and stuff like that. But I've never really been able to find a low cost way to do that. It always seems like at various places that I've worked, the person that had the keys to the kingdom wasn't so keen on the idea of some weird developer having his own vSphere data center that he could just automate using Terraform modules and stuff like that. And then like in my own home rack, my own home lab, where I have a rack of servers. I suppose I could set up a vSphere and stuff like that, but right now I don't have access to it, so I just use Hyper-V. I have a Windows server that I run Hyper-V on, and I run a Kubernetes cluster. But I have talked to some people in the past. Maybe there's like a vSphere like community edition that I could download. If you know anything about that, let me know, because I think it might be an interesting mashup series, like where I actually look at site recovery and VMware in particular, and stand up a VMware data center in my home rack and spin up VMs using the vSphere Terraform provider, and then set up Azure Site Recovery to replicate them. I don't know. It sounds like a fun little project. Definitely in the VM space, but I think in the near future, my channel is going to evolve and explore in a little bit more diverse ways, playing with serverless and Kubernetes and things like that. So, but we'll see. Some updates to SignalR and WebPubSub. WebPubSub is not a service I've actually used in the wild. But SignalR definitely is. Big fan of SignalR. But I should definitely get down and dirty with WebPubSub. That's on my to-do list for sure. And SSH public key. I use Key Vault, and I use the TLS provider for Terraform so much. I should really look into this SSH public key resource and see, what the pros and cons of using that are versus the technique that I use, which is use the Terraform TLS provider, generate a SSH key, dump it into Key Vault, reference it everywhere. But yeah, I should evaluate this to see if there's a better way to do what I'm doing. Azure bots, some bug fixes in the Azure bots in the healthcare service. I've not used the bot service. I played around with it a little while ago for a healthcare startup, but never really got serious with it. Kusto. So I use Kusto at work a lot. It's rebranded Azure Data Explorer, ADX. But we don't use Event Hub for a data connection. We've been using Event Grid to pipe in activity logs and things like that, but not Event Hub. But it's good to see that this service is getting some attention. And then we got Linux and Windows Function Apps and content over VNet. Oh, okay. So this is for private network connections when you're using function apps, which is definitely on the roadmap for my channel, because I'm going to be slinging some Azure function code, showing you how to deploy it to different Azure functions and connecting those Azure functions to private network connectivity. In fact, I'm basically going to try and take every mainstream service and deploy, show you how to deploy it in general with the public endpoint, but then show you how to use like a private endpoint and connect to it through an Azure function or an AKS cluster or whatever. So it's good to see this stuff getting cleaned up. But yeah, not a big release, but fixing some bugs, a mobile service, and Azure Site Recovery expansions. And yeah, that's pretty much it. Anyways, happy St. Patrick's Day. I'm going to be going on vacation here soon. So I hope you enjoy the stuff that I've lined up for you while I'm away. I may be a little bit slow in responding to questions from the community, but I'll do my best. And enjoy spring break, and I'll see you guys soon. This is the Azure Terraformer signing off.